We're so happy to be here and talking with you guys today. Okay, I'm gonna turn my camera off because my audio is bad. All right, so we are the Blueprint Editors-in-Chief. We're based in Downers Grove, Illinois, and this is our presentation on the 3 keys to a student-led newsroom. So really quick, we're gonna introduce ourselves. My name is Jackie Barba. I've been on the Blueprint staff for 3 years now. I primarily write in features and opinions, but I've written in every section. And last year I was the managing editor, and this year I serve as one of the co-editors-in-chief. Luke can go next.
All right. Hi guys, my name is Luke Alvarez. I'm also an editor-in-chief for the Blueprint this year, and then last year was my first year on staff, and I was a copy editor. I write primarily for opinions with editorials, but I'm also running much in news, and then I also contribute with infographics and then other sorts of multimedia content for the website. Pass over to Alex.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Miranda. I'm a senior at Downers Grove South High School. I've been involved with the Blueprint program for 3 years, including club and the Blueprint team. At Blueprint, I am a co-editor-in-chief. I was also the video news director last year, and my sophomore year, I was a copy editor. Some of my favorite sections to write in include features, and I also make video news packages for the website.
Great. So in this presentation, we're going to cover the 3 keys to a student-led newsroom. So specifically, I will go over the recruitment process and how you build up a staff. Alex is going to go over the day-to-day things that make a difference. And then Luke is going to go over executing your staff's fullest potential. So starting from scratch, let's just assume that you're building your staff from the ground up. Obviously, you can't have a newspaper without writers, and a strong staff is a really great foundation for everything else. So here's what we found to be really great ways to build that up. So what does a strong staff look like? To me, there's 3 things that really make our staff really strong. First is the diversity. Secondly is their wide range of involvement. And lastly is the freedom that we give them. So these are things that we'll go over in a second, but specifically just 3 things that I think really reflect well on a staff and are good things to keep in mind when you're building from the ground up. So here are possible resources for where you can find future staff members. So firstly is freelancing. This is something that I will get into more in depth in a second, but this is a really simple way to have writers learn before they're on staff full-time, and it also gives you an opportunity to expand your content. Secondly is journalism clubs or electives. So at our school, we have a journalism club and a journalism elective that kind of teaches kids the basics. If you don't have those available to you, that's okay. But if you do, those would be really great gold mines for future staff members. And if you don't have a club yet, consider starting one up. Our club is very chill. It does not take a lot of work, and it can be done in a really simple way, and it's a great way for you to start building up your program. Okay. So freelancing. This is how you can discover untapped potential. So where you can find freelancers. First of all, you can find them in your English classes. Obviously, most students who are involved and really, really like English classes are going to be kids who are interested in writing for your paper. But don't really limit yourself to just kids who are interested in journalism. We've had a lot of really great freelancers who write a super interesting essay, and then we reformat it into something that can go onto our website, which is super great. Secondly, journalism club. So like I said before, if you have a journalism club, that's a really great place to look. If not, consider starting one. Any elective journalism classes, those are great because kids are going to know the basics going into it. And then another thing is art classes. This sounds a little unorthodox because obviously art classes aren't really something you would consider when you're talking about journalism. But as I'll show you later on, it's a really great way to expand your visual content and to make your website or the work that you're putting out there look even better. What you should look for kids with interest, not just in your program, but also just with interest in journalism in general. look for unique perspectives. Like I said, we've had a lot of kids who come over who have just really cool perspectives on different stuff that's going on in the school. Those are kids who are essentially going to have strong voices. This doesn't necessarily mean kids who are really outspoken or extroverted. It can be kids who have really, really good writing skills and display that strong voice in their writing. And then finally, look for talent not represented in your current staff. So if you're really lacking someone who has the inside scoop on sports teams, look for someone who's going to be interested in your program, who's maybe on the football team or on the tennis team, because that's going to help you eventually be able to cover everything with what you're writing. And then what they should write when they're starting out, easy, simple, manageable stuff. So opinions, columns, we call quizzes, horoscopes, and top 10s fluff in our program. Those are things that are just really easy, low pressure things that kids can start writing and just get their toes into the pool of writing all of this stuff. So go ahead, Alex, you can switch the slide. Okay, how to make the freelancing process simple. So number one, checklist, which I will show you an example of in a second. This makes sure that they have everything they need. It simplifies your publishing process. And it just makes it easier both on you and on writers. Checking in is also really important. Get involved with your writers. Know what they're writing and why they're writing it, because novice writers might need coaching or more help than some of your full-time staff members. But including that, staff participation can be really key to freelancing. It involves the staff, which is really great for bonding, but it also spreads out the responsibilities so it doesn't fall on just one staff member, and it helps them review the basics. And then clear steps. If you make the process really simple, it not only keeps it easy for you, but it keeps it easy for your writers, and it encourages kids to participate without making it feel like it's too much of a hassle. So this is an example of a freelance checklist. Last year when I was the managing editor, I oversaw a lot of our freelancing, and I used this checklist to kind of streamline our process. It made things a lot easier on me, and it made things a lot easier on the writers because then they knew what they had to turn in order to get something published. So this checklist is what works for us, but it's flexible and it can be changed to meet your staff's needs. For example, I have on here, our website requires that captions be 10 words long. Those are things that we wanted any freelancer to just have a photo and a caption that was minimum 10 words long, ready for us so that we could publish. And was something that they didn't know because they're not a full-time staff member. But those are just little things that you can kind of add to the checklist that make that process a lot easier on both you and on them. And then make your program accessible and easy to join. One of the easiest ways that you can do this is by creating a join page on your website. So this is where ours is found. This is the first thing that you see on our website. It's up there, it's easy to access. And the page can include directions for recommending students to be on staff, instructions on how to join staff, and club information if you have one. But it's just a really easy way to make sure that people know how they can access your program and how exactly it's built. So for example, this is what our join page looks like. It has Google Forms for recommendations. Both teachers and students can recommend themselves. Just show that they're interested, which is a really great way for you to kind of have a read on who's interested. It gives them a recommended plan for involvement. For example, at our school, we really like them to start with journalism club, then go into a journalistic expressions elective class, and then go on to full-time staff, which is just part of our goal to kind of build up our program. And then it also has an informational video about club. So these are just easy, quick things that somebody can access all in one place to know exactly how our program works and how they can get involved. And then how you can expand your program, journalism clubs and electives. If you don't have one, here's how you can start one. If you do have one, now is the time to build it up. So the reason that we really like journalism club in our program is because it gives us an opportunity to apply what we're learning and what we're doing as a full-time staff member. So a lot of times in having to teach novice writers, our writers are learning the basics over and over again. The stuff that kind of becomes habit for you is not a habit for a novice writer. So it's really nice for reviewing those things. It helps promote the future of your staff because you know these kids are interested, you know that they're involved, you know what they've written, and it helps to kind of build up that future. And then it gives you simple freelance access, which is, again, another really great thing. If your school offers other journalism electives, these are essentially gold mines for future staff, because you know their experience, you know what they've learned, and your staff can be a mix of experienced and inexperienced writers. So going back to that diversity piece that makes a strong staff, your staff does not have to be cookie cutter. They don't all have to come in with the same basic skills. You can have a mix of experienced and inexperienced writers, and eventually that'll really build up to be a strong staff. And then go beyond the English department. So as I said before, art classes aren't something you would usually expect. Usually I feel like when you're looking for people on staff, you're looking at the English department because you expect those kids to be most interested in journalism. But a well-rounded staff has members from every part of the school. Sports teams, art classes, the debate team. These are kids who are going to present a skill set that is going to improve your content. The debate team kids are going to be great for podcasts because they already know how to talk in front of people. Art classes are going to be great for expanding your visual content. These are some graphics that we've had on our website that our graphics directors have made that are really, really great and bring a lot of attention to our stuff. I don't know about you guys, but this art makes me want to click on whatever article is going with it. And that's really important for not only expanding your content, but also for making sure that your staff is well-rounded. You, as a newspaper, should want to cover every part of the school, so you should have staff members who kind of have a pulse point on every part of the school. And then looking forward. So once you've kind of started to build up that strong staff, you want to make sure that you keep up that momentum. And these are two things that we've found to be really helpful for doing that. Number one is connections. Ask your current staff who they think should be on staff. The chances are that they know people that are just as talented or have that diverse background that they do, those really cool wide ranges of involvement, and they should have connections throughout the school that you can recommend to be on the staff in the future. And then another thing is reflection. What did your staff lack this year? What worked? What didn't? Ask yourself these questions and help shape your recruitment process next year. What did your staff this year need? Did you need somebody on the art classes who can help you make graphics? Did you need someone on the debate team that can help you expand your podcast content? Look for things that you haven't been able to touch on and try and find staff members who are going to bring that to your paper. And now we're going to move on to Alex, who's going to go over the day-to-day stuff.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I think that was a great introduction to our presentation. Just as a quick reintroduction of who I am, my name is Alex Miranda. I'm reporting live from the back room of our journalism program space. Very happy to be presenting to you guys today. So I'm going to be talking to you about running a newsroom and more specifically, the day-to-day elements that make a student-run team a success. So something that's very important and something that this convention talks a lot about is breaking boundaries and trying to understand how we can just promote an open discussion environment in a journalistic space from home, because obviously a lot of us are on Zoom right now. We don't have all of the in-person opportunities that we would in a normal year. So something that's very important and something that we as editors-in-chiefs make sure to emphasize is the first 10 minutes of class. We want to try to run our newsroom as normal as we can to what a normal year would look like. And in order to do that, we just have to promote discussion right off the gate. So we make slideshows. Here's an example. One of the running jokes in our class is that our instructor, Miss Lawn, is obsessed with cats. So we make sure we put some visuals of that every week. But we just start the class with the slideshow. We share our screen just like we're doing now, and we just get into discussion. So this is an example, an editor-in-chief update slide that we would make to start class. So on this specific example, we shouted out one of our writers, Annie, because she won a Best of Snow award. We think it's really important to just give recognition when recognition is due and let our students and staff know that we appreciate them. We also talked about tutorials. I will be touching a little bit more on this later in my portion of the presentation, but tutorials are very important because they offer resources to help students advance their writing. If they're struggling in a specific area or they need specific help, we create slideshows to help them make sure that they're back on track, or we can work with them one as well. And then the best part of our discussion at the beginning of class is when we get into our updates on current events. So in this particular day, we were talking about a Jewel article because our district was suing vape companies. So we made sure to talk about that. And this was also the week that the Wall Street bets and GameStop and hedge fund scandal just totally unwound. So we made sure to cover that and just have an open discussion about that with our class to make sure we were all updated on the news and how we can best cover it. And then we also talked about the sports. We're reporting from Illinois, so the IHSA schedule was announced. So we made sure to cover that because that directly impacted our district. And then we just do a checkup at the end. We say, how are we doing? How are we feeling? Are we ready to mentally get into this week and have a successful day? So that's how we start class. And then the next thing that we do in our day-to-day is establish strong methods of collaborative communication. So how do we achieve that? We try to make sure we strengthen bonds both in and out of class instruction. Obviously in class, we're always utilizing the chat feature, keeping our cameras on, which is very important on Zoom to make sure that we're attentive. But also outside of class, we have a group chat. We make sure we interact with each other as much as possible and that we're keeping us updated on the current events. We also encourage staff to critique others' work. So when somebody writes an article, it doesn't automatically get published, as I'm sure a lot of other newspapers do, and you guys practice the same general idea. We actually have multiple copy editors usually look at work, and then section editors, and then we build the article in our online publication, and then we finally publish it after that. So tons of eyes are looking at our articles, because even though an individual might write a piece, at the end of the day, it's everybody's responsibility to ensure that piece is successful. We also participate in team building exercises. Sometimes we'll make articles together, or we will do like staff photo challenges, things of that nature, just to make sure that everybody is being and feeling like they're a part of the team. And then also during normal years, we would have staff distribution day parties where everybody would bring in food and we would just have a very fun time. Obviously, that is not the case this year, but we still try to incorporate as much collaboration as possible. Another thing that we do is promote individual responsibility. This is a model of one of our cycle calendars. So as you can see, we give everybody access to it and everyone is just able to go in, highlight their articles, keep up with their deadlines, know their dates of when they're publishing, and also their copy editing dates, section editing dates, things of that nature, so that they know what they need and what day they need to have that and get all their information by. So we just try to make it colorful, make it fun, but also make sure that everybody is aware of their deadlines and has access to all the information that they need. Another important thing that we do is work toward a common goal. We always emphasize an event or a challenge on the schedule to look forward to. In the fall, right when we start every year on Blueprint, we do a boot camp for AP style rules. And we just hammer in everything that the AP style book entails and make sure that everybody is just ready to write successfully and knows how to be successful in a journalistic setting. And then we go in, we try to win as many awards as possible throughout the year. And there's just different deadlines that we always have on our calendar to motivate us and make sure that we're ready and prepared to succeed. We also make presentations for student needs. I talked about tutorials a little bit earlier. I'll just give a few examples of that. This first one is 12 AP style guidelines that are easy to mess up. One of our section editors, Becca, from a few years ago wrote that one. We also have easy ways to promote your piece instead of asking for tweets. And the one that I did, that's my personal favorite, even though I might be biased, how to write an exceptional opinions piece, in my opinion. And I wrote this one last year when I was a video news editor. So these are very easy presentations to make, but we find that they're very helpful. And then when we put them in a folder online, they're always accessible for students to refer back to if they need to, or if they have any questions that we may be busy with, or we might not immediately be able to answer. There's always these resources available for them to use. All right, Luke, I'm going to hand it over to you to finish off this presentation.
All right, thank you, Alex. So my name is Luke Alvarez, and I'll be taking over this next section of the presentation, which is all about executing. So now that you have your team and you've established a culture, it's time to execute. Next slide. So first, an overview. This section is going to focus on big picture stuff to take your newspaper to the next level. So social media, website design, and content creation are all part of that. Really elevating your newspaper and bringing it just to the next level of where you guys want it to be. So first, social media. So the primary purpose of social media is to reach your audience, and this is done first by building an audience. So everybody's goal should be to have everybody in your school first know that your newspaper exists and how they can access it. So how you're going to do this is you're going to make accounts that maximize their reach. So whether that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever you think fits your student body best, you're going to create accounts for that, and then promote the accounts with the personal accounts on your staff. So at the beginning of the year, we have everybody like post a shout out on their Instagram story, shouting out our like main Down or South Blueprint Instagram page, so that we can get as many new followers, especially among freshmen, to follow our content. And then you're going to get other student organizations at your school that also have social media accounts to go and promote your stuff so that even more people see it. And then lastly, just make quality content that people are going to want to follow consistently. And then once you've done this, it's time to promote your content. So promoting content helps bring traffic to your website for individual stories, and it can also help your staff in two ways. The first way is that it's going to boost staff morale by providing a motivator. So if somebody knows that if they write a super exceptional piece or they go other way and go the extra mile, and they know that they have this incentive of getting promoted and getting shouted out, that's going to encourage them to just go like all the way with everything they do. And then it'll also help recruit future staff members by seeing how like all the cool stuff you guys are doing on staff. So a lot of this stuff is cyclic. By making your staff better, you're making your newspaper better, and by having a better newspaper, more talented kids are going to want to join your staff. So how you're going to do this is whatever you think works best and what should be promoted. For us, we usually promote articles on both Instagram and Twitter. Instagram gets more of the student audience, while Twitter gets more of the adult, like Down or South community audience. And we usually promote exceptionally good articles that we think are super important, or ones that are super funny, entertaining, anything that's controversy, really anything that we think the community should be seeing. And then make sure, this is super important, make sure that your viewers can easily see the articles and link everything in your promotions. So next slide, please. So next is website design, where the focus should be on professionalism, organization, and engagement. Next slide. So to break this down, organization, the way you want to do this is making sure that everything in your website is as intuitive as possible. And this is done by categorizing your content. So when viewers come to your website, they know how to get to stuff very easily and they can see what they're looking for. So the way we've done this is we've put tabs on the top of our website that breaks down every section, and then we have tabs within those that go to subsections within those. So for example, editorials within opinions and stuff like that. And then for professionalism, you're going to want to look to professional newspapers for inspiration for this. So places like the New York Times, Washington Post, all your local city publications. So for us, the Chicago Tribune. And then some ideas that we've incorporated are staff section with headshots and then staff profiles. This has really made our website appear even more professional and really taking it to the next level as not just some high school publication, but one that's really well regarded in our community. And then we've also put in an about section and a letter to the editor section in our website that really just takes our website to the next level. And then lastly, engagement. So go back, please. Engagement. So articles that we call fluff can help bring in a lot of traffic. These are easy but fun articles that your staff can write. So stuff like top 10s, horoscopes, quizzes, stuff that might not seem like super hard-hitting journalism will help bring in viewers, and then they can jump from those stories to ones that you guys are putting a ton of effort into. So get more eyes in your content. Next slide. So lastly, what I want to go over is content creation. So this is really in the end what matters most. This is where your staff is going to shine. So your staff is going to come in with different interests, strengths, and abilities. And as leaders, you really want to cater to your staff. So firstly, their interests. If somebody is super passionate about a topic, whether it's politics, sports, tech, anything like that, you want to make sure that they're able to fulfill that passion and through their writing. So an example for us was Ariel O. She's super passionate about making her community the best place it possibly could be. So she's written a bunch of editorials like that. Another thing is catering to their strengths. So an example for this is Jackie. She came in as a super strong review writer. She has a really good way of describing things while staying easy to understand for the readers. So she fit really well into entertainment and review writing, which is something that we push her to do in her first year on staff. And then lastly, everybody's going to have different strengths and skill sets. So for example, me, I came in with a super strong math and stats background, which really fit well with the kind of content that infographics is, where you're combining statistics with journalism to tell a story. This works the same way with speech kids and podcasts and artists making graphics. You really just want to make sure that everyone on staff is fulfilling their maximum potential. So I'll open the floor back up to Jackie and Alex for final thoughts, and then if anybody has any questions that they want to leave in the chat.
Thank you, Luke. I am also dropping our emails in the chat right now in case anyone has any questions that we don't get to, or if you just feel more comfortable shooting us an email. I will put all three of our emails there so you can reach out to us. But yeah, you can feel free to unmute yourself as well or type in the chat. We only have a few minutes left, 1 or 2 minutes. So if anybody has anything immediately that they would like to share, please feel free to do so. Thank you.
I'll also put our school website for if anybody wants to see the kind of stuff that we're putting out.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea, Luke.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how to unmute this. Oh, am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Awesome, good. So what if we have a student body that does not like to interact? Like we try stuff all the time. Do y'all have any tips for that?
Oh, I'll go. Okay. Recently we did a fun thing to kind of promote our Instagram a little bit. We have a teacher here who has not tried a lot of foods, and we had him eat an onion like an apple, and we just promoted it all over our social media and had our staff promote it and just tried to get it out there. So I think I would recommend, if you have a student body that's not that engaged, look for something that will engage them. It doesn't have to be serious. It can be something funny and silly like that, that people want to see. And that kind of brings traffic to your site. And hopefully they'll come for like that silly thing and then stay for the actual work that you're doing.
Thank you.
In the chat, someone asked what other slides do you put with the EIC updates. Mostly we just do our updates, and then we'll do editing groups, which is just whatever articles need to be edited, we'll put them with whoever needs to look at them. So a section editor and a copy editor, and then that's what we'll do that day. But EIC updates are pretty much their own slide, and usually we keep it down to 1 slide.
Yeah, just super quick, going off of what Jackie said for the editing group slide that we also do. We attend school on Zoom, so we just use breakout rooms for that. But in a normal year, we would all get together, rearrange our desks, and just have like a collaborative group environment where we'd go through the articles in that way. But yeah, besides that, we mainly just try to make the editor-in-chief slide as fun as possible to get kids excited for the day.
And then another question I saw in the chat was, how do you connect both remote and virtual learners if you're in a hybrid setting? I think for us, something that we've been really successful about is the first 10 minutes of class, like Alex talks about, trying to get everybody engaged with the kids in the room and on the Zoom, to have everybody in like a group discussion and talking about what they want to do. And then also just making sure that class is as engaging as possible. If you guys have anything to add on, feel free.
No, I think that was a great way to end it, Luke. It is 10:30, so this concludes our presentation. Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you learned something today, and definitely feel free. We left our emails in the chat, just a reminder one more time, if you would like to reach out to us, and also our Blueprint website if you want to read what we've been working on lately. Bye, you guys.